Hello! It's an early game for the Sacramento Kings, but I think we can all agree we are excited to see him back in action. Scary game, though. Toronto Raptors, losers of 9 of 10, 7 in a row. And how do you game plan for them? Basically, their core five guys are out, so we'll talk about that. It's really about what the Kings do today. We'll get you ready for the game. We got coverage all night for you here on If You Don't Like That. Welcome to the pregame show.
1, go.
Sacramento miscue. Carter, stolen by Williams. And look at this. Oh, you don't like that. You don't like NBA basketball. Fox, goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. The exclamation point from De'Aaron Fox. If you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
Boy, that's an ESPN highlight right there. Whoa. Carlson comes in. How about this? Holy moly, Jim Bob Foley. That is a major league smush.
Kings-Raptors tonight. We got the coverage for you. What you're looking at is the last 5 games for the Sacramento Kings. Not bad, not too bad. I understand you want the record to be a little bit better, only 3-2, but here's the deal. In the last 5 games, the Kings are second in defensive rating. Second in defensive rating, 103.2. Here's the other thing I want to point you to, and actually I can't do it with here, but I'll just tell you verbally, I'll bring you back in. The Kings, their net rating has doubled. Literally, their season net rating has doubled. It was hovering around 0.3, 0.5, right? Now it's 1. What's going on? Let me know your thoughts. Will the Kings show up with the physical brand of basketball, punch them in the face right out of the gate tonight? We'll see. It should be a fun one. Want to get all of you in on the action here. Let's get your comments in there loading up. Sorry about the pregame show or the postgame show. Last game, my internet gave out on me, so that wasn't all good. But let's get you in here. A lot of optimism about tonight. And I'm not sure if any of you caught Grant's open forum show yesterday. If you didn't, go check out one of the takes that he had in it, and I agree with it. With the Kings on the upcoming stretch that they have, a lot of people have said, Grant and I have said, that the Kings need to win the next 3 games. Well, they've already won 1. That was what they took care of at home the other night. Barely against the Memphis Grizzlies, but they got it done. That's all that matters, right? Well, they need to come out of the next 2, and it's a brutal back-to-back. Even though you're not playing good teams, you got to go through customs. A lot of people saying that, right? Well, after that, the Kings have another East Coast trip, right? And then after the East Coast trip, they come home, have 24 hours of rest. 24 hours. Then they play again against Philadelphia. And then you've got 2 against Dallas here in Sacramento. The reason I bring it up, Grant said, rest the guys against Philadelphia. Rest them. I get a game as a game, but with what's at stake in the Western Conference and seeing that it's a full game, 2 full games against Dallas, I'm kind of with him. What do you guys think about that? I think it's an interesting conversation. I know we've got a long ways to go. We got this one tonight. But BJ saying, let's go Kings. Yes, indeed. That's what Mike Brown's saying. We got to be the first to punch him in the face. Cody, what's up? When you think of Raptors, you think of Vince Carter. That is what I think of. I think about the dunk contest. I also think about Kawhi Leonard. So Kawhi, SDSU alum, great dude, okay? Great dude. So I think about his shot. You remember that one, Cody, in the Eastern Conference Finals? That was pretty special. Probably the biggest shot anybody from San Diego State's ever hit in their career. My guess would be. Alberto, the Raptors are not good. No, they're not. So they're going to be good tonight, right? That's usually the formula. 13-20 at home. Appreciate that stat. We hope they do too. Ash, what's up? Hey, Ash, I know you're working on the song and we have lyrics. And I'm not trying to call you out here, But I do have to ask, one of my buddies who is in production and content creating, can go check out his work at hollywoodrejects.com. Anyways, he was pointing some things out to me about AI and how they can create songs. You just put it into an AI thing and a song pops out in like 30 seconds. So have some fun with that. I wonder if Ash is going the AI route. I get it. I think she's from Sacramento, so she's going to do it from scratch, I think. No, he is not. Like I said, everybody, Scotty Barnes, everyone out for the Raptors. In fact, we'll put that up for you in a second. We'll put it who's in, who's out. Speaking of who's in, who's out, let's talk about Kevin Huerter really quick. I'm sure you've gotten your fill of the updates with Kevin. Separate dislocated shoulder, okay? So the question becomes, what's the MRI show? And with a shoulder like that, you could theoretically have no damage from the dislocation, and you could have a lot of damage from the dislocation. And the muscles around the shoulder socket, they loosen up once that's come out. So that becomes a problem. So waiting to hear on that about Kevin. Looks like Keon is the obvious choice to slide into the starting lineup because he is going to probably be, he started the second half last game, so my guess is he's in there tonight. New rating for what? No, defensive rating, Garrison. So the last 5 games, if you look at the last 5 games for everybody in the NBA, the Kings have the second best defensive rating at 103.2. Credit to Brendan Nunez. He is the one that pulled that stat. So take it for what it's worth. Obviously, you've seen a different brand of basketball with this Kings team. And a lot of things we've talked about on If You Don't Like That before the Huerter injury happened, about, you know, the difference of having Keon in the lineup with the starters, about the ball moving a little bit more, no expectation to get Keon looks. That's all what you're hearing from Kingsland right now, and from some the other people that cover the team. So we'll see. Keon, it's a small sample size. Yes, they are. They are, Garrison. Zakara, what's up? You're glad Ellis will be starting for the foreseeable future. Well, Mike Brown, his comments about that, and I'm not going to talk about him right now, it wasn't anything negative, but it was something along the lines like when Kevin's ready. And so does that mean injury ready? Does that mean like ready mentally, back in the swing of things? So there's a little bit of ambiguity there. It's going to be a game-to-game thing with this Sacramento group. And Sasha Vezenkov, that's the other name that I wanted to get to. Yesterday was his first shoot-around that he went through. And I get it, shoot-around's not the same as a practice, and practices and shoot-arounds are different this time of year. A little bit more laxed and more, you know, going through what you need to do, X's and O's. But he, full participant yesterday, he is questionable for tonight. So see if he pops in as available. That will be interesting. My guess would be probably not, but maybe the second night, maybe tomorrow night. Internet inconsistent like the defense. So yeah. I've actually had the option of getting much better internet here for like the last year at half the price, and I haven't done it. Yeah, so that's on me. Alberto hopping back in, or actually, let's go to Adam really quick. Seriously, we need to win the games. We should win right now. Yeah, I mean, Adam, it's the same stuff. Yep, no doubt. Is Huerter coming off the bench today? No. Did you see last game? He ain't playing today. Kevin is out indefinitely. They're still waiting for the MRI results. As far as I know, no MRI results yet. So let's see. Damon Stoudemire. Sure, Damon Stoudemire. BJ says, rest him. Emat, what's your thoughts on Ohtani? Well, we usually only talk about basketball here. But my thoughts are it's not surprising. On 2 fronts. The gambling part, not surprising. Now, the other part, the fraud, to me, it's not surprising. A lot of times when you hear about frauds against players, coaches, famous people, it's usually, or many times, the people closest to them. And again, this guy was a friend of Ohtani's. Obviously, he was handling all of the, speaking, translating for him. So it's unfortunate. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's just it's the tip of the iceberg. What's the NBA talking about? Reportedly, the NBA is talking about gambling, live gambling within League Pass. So you're going to hear more stuff like this. BJ hopping back in, Canadian bacon and a maple bar. Yes, one of my friends would not take kindly to that, but I do think of those things too. And I think about Mounties too. You guys remember the Mounties, or like the WWE, the Mountie? Yeah, I remember that. I think there was a TV show like the Mountie or something like that. Dorito, Griff, we gonna get Delano Banton and Gary Trent Jr. big tonight? Probably, maybe. It's how it usually works. Herder is injured, not playing. Thank you for picking me up. Yes, he was. He was amazing. Remember the year they didn't win the championship when he missed the free throws? That was the year the Heat got the ring when Ray Allen hit the three. So terrible use of that AI. Oh, no cussing, unless the hosts say it. Are the Raptors already tanking? No, they're not. And somebody said this. I think it was Whitey said it earlier today, maybe. I was getting in and out of the car, and it was like, yeah, you could have a front office that wants to tank, but these guys are going to play. Great. Like, doesn't mean they're playing for this franchise their entire careers. So if they're going to be putting, stuff on tape, they're going to play. So the players and the front office usually are on different pages when it comes to tanking. What are my thoughts? We already hit that. Gosh, you guys are doing great with the comments. Yeah, let's have a fun post-game show. We've had some good ones. We have, John. The post-game show, by the way, RJ is not playing tonight, unfortunately. And yes, it is a personal situation. But yes, we've had some fun ones. We got to incorporate the chat more. Remember, everybody, you can text the show now. You can text the show 916-399-3748. And then you can also call the show, as you know, all the same routes. And then if you don't already, make sure you subscribe to Grant's channel. And please give us a thumbs up if you're watching for the first time. We would really appreciate it. Grant just hit 7K. That's pretty darn cool. So thank you for that. And then if you haven't already as well, go check out my podcast. It's a daily podcast. Short form, Kings Court Daily Insider, get you all ready for the day and some other shenanigans. If you like the Jim Rome show and some other stuff, I think you'll like it. Go check out the deposition of Ryan in Sacktown. That episode gives you my why. So if anybody's listened to it, hopefully you know a little bit more about me now. Yeah, everybody's reacting to the Mountie. Yeah, the Mountie. No, Derek, I'm not putting that on the screen, but yes. That was interesting, right? I thought the funnier part, so Derek's referring to the jersey swap. That's all I'm going to say, the jersey swap. But there were some funny things with that, and I'm sure they've had some fun with that. But the funniest thing was their faces. Like, you could tell the joke was on, you get it. So anyways, Patrick, what's up, man? No, yeah, we already got that up. He is not playing, unfortunately. Alberto, Ryan, would you take a Kings win tomorrow or an SDSU win tomorrow? SDSU, 110%. I love the Kings, but SDSU is my family. Two of my friends are coaches on the staff. Those are some of the guys that I spent some of the best years of my life with. So, yeah, 100% SDSU. But, I love my Kings. I love the Kings, but, I got to stay in the middle. So, MC, my man. By the way, guys, MC won the last contest. I guess nobody likes free stuff. Nobody likes Bennett's gift cards because I've been trying to give you stuff away. I mean, I'm trying to get it out of here, and nobody wants to take it. I mean, just MC, what was it? Like a autographed Mike Bibby shooting shirt or something like that that's coming your way? Oh, Ansem, if you don't like that gear. Yeah. So, I mean, you gotta listen. You gotta see. Just respond. Retweet it. What's your thoughts? We already got that. Okay, we're getting repeats. So my system is glitching right now. I do apologize for that. Go Kings. Yes, indeed. Hey, it's a great time to tell you, by the way, since I have not reminded you in a while, it is brunch season, and nobody does it better than Bennett's Westside Grill. If you've been with us since last season, you know that is their newest location in Rockland, located in the Blue Oaks Town Center. You can get 2 entrees and a bottle of champagne for $44. You can't even get out of McDonald's for $25 at breakfast with a couple people. So get over to Bennett'sRestaurants.com, check out their menus, other dining specials, and also Brian personally texted me and let me know the website is ready to go for Easter and Mother's Day reservations. So go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com for more information. We appreciate them so much. Brian is the best, and we appreciate all you always supporting Bennett's and our sponsors. Yes, sir. He's going to enjoy that. Yes, he is. So Kings-Raptors tonight, I mean, it's really hard to kind of break this one down because of who's in and who's out of this one. I'm going to try to get this pulled up because I will spend far too much time trying to explain it to you. But it's going to be much like the Memphis game. And here's my concern about these games when the Kings when they get teams like this that may have G Leaguers or guys that have not played together. There's no structure usually on the offensive side for those guys. And so when there's no structure for those guys, things spread out. And when things spread out, the Kings have a really hard time guarding the ball. So here's the injury reports for both teams. There you go. Sasha has been ruled out now. That has been updated. So like I said, just about everybody that is notable for the Raptors is out of this one tonight. But as I was saying, the thing that worries me, and we saw this in the Memphis game, is the Kings getting spread out. And the one good thing right now, though, is Malik Monk and the guards, the way that they have been switching defensively on the perimeter, that's changed things up. And it has got the deflections up. It has caused teams to kind of start their offense from different places. The Kings are giving that pressure, but it can be at a detriment too to some of your front line and your bigger guys in a game like this, because sometimes you're going to see, I would say probably a decent number of the guys for Toronto are going to be undersized, a little bit smaller than the Kings. So to me, this screams a game where it's Keegan Murray. It screams a game where it's Harrison Barnes right off the bat. And we talked about Keon, not a lot of pressure to get him shots, right? But he can knock down. He's shown it since college. He can knock down an open three. So you got that going for him. You hope he can, hit those in stride and within the offense as they come. But I said there's stats for this team that are set in stone. It's like Grant and I have Kings winning rules here on If You Don't Like That. One of Grant's is 30 assists, less than 10 turnovers. Got to be a 3-to-1 ratio or better assist to turnover. The second one now to me is steals. The Kings are 11-4 when they have 10 or more steals. So throw that in there. And now we got a new one that Herder's out. You absolutely have to have 4 starters in double digits. You have to. Sean Cunningham was talking about Malik Monk's impact last night, and he dropped a stat. The Kings are 18-6. 18-6 when Malik scores 20 or more points this season. So throw him in there, 20 or more. And Malik's problem is not scoring. It's not being explosive. It's not giving the team that boost off the bench. Malik's problem is sometimes turning the ball over. It's over dribbling, getting caught in the air. And Malik knows that. He says it all the time. So when that corrects, that second unit is usually humming so much better. So those are the 3 things for me that the Kings have to do. And I guess, too, when you look at the scores or the amount of points that the Kings have allowed the last 5 games, let me pull it up real quick. The last 5 games, the Kings have allowed in Memphis, it was an overtime game, 121, 91, or excuse me, they allowed 111. They allowed 98. So check this out. 107 and 94. So Is it maybe this is, and I'm going to kick it to you guys in the chat. There's many times, and I forget the player's name. Jerry Reynolds says at halftime, Jerry will say the quote unquote rule, whatever it is. It's a race to 100. I think when the Kings get to 100 first, I would love to see if somebody out there wants to do the work. I'll do it tonight, and I'll talk about it on the Kings court tomorrow. But I would love to see the Kings record when they score, or when they get to 100 first before their opponents. Because it feels like the Kings are going to be winning games defensively and not offensively. And the way the NBA is calling it, or having the officials call the games right now, there's been a stark difference. They're letting them play. It's kind of like playoff basketball has started a little bit early. And, De'Aaron had comments on it. De'Aaron said he's fine with it. He thinks he's good for basketball, but it needs to be called both ways. I think that there's been more than a few people that saw that Memphis game at points. There was a little bit of chippiness. James Ham reported that there was chippiness going on between Bane and Kevin Huerter right from the tip. So take it for what it's worth. And usually it's Trey Lyles, right? Trey Lyles. He's the one that's bringing that physicality, or that toughness, I should say, that dog. He's the one. And Keon, I get it, Ellis Island, all that. Let's slow down a little bit. He doesn't have a statue yet. But Ellis Island, it's just they're defensive minded. It is what it is. And I'm kind of enjoying it. It feels like I tweeted it out during the New York Knicks game. I said, this feels like a 1996 Kings game at Arco Arena. It's exactly what it felt like. So let's get you guys back in here again. Kings and Raptors tonight. We've gone over who's in, who's out. Raptors, losers of 9 of 10 coming into this one. The Raptors with more people out than in this game. And they have lost 7 straight. First night, guys. First night of a back-to-back for the Kings. So really, really important here. Jason, what's up? Welcome to the party. It looks like Fox recently changed his free throw form slightly in the past month. Maybe. I have not noticed that. He shoots more. Okay, interesting. I will keep an eye out for that. Now, if you want to talk about shooting trends, we talked about it, or I talked about it 2 nights ago on If You Don't Like That. Keegan Murray, watch his shot tonight, by the way, because when his shot comes out flat, and if you're a basketball person, you know what flat means. If his shot's flat, it's usually not going in, and there's a distinct difference when Keegan is shooting well. That ball has so much more arc. So I want to see how that looks right off the jump tonight. Sure. Okay. I'm with you. I actually, one of the people in the Jim Rome show that I don't always get along from is from Canada. So yeah, I'm with you. I am with you 100%. Dio, what's up, man? Welcome to If You Don't Like That. Keon is the energy guy. I agree with you. Here's the second energy guy that not enough people are talking about, Alex Len. Watch what he does off the bench. Kings will be missing offense with Huerter, no doubt. Absolutely. Adam saying Barnes is going for 15 tonight. All right, we'll see. Yeah, let's get your predictions in here. What do you guys think? What's the score going to be? Have you guys done your brackets? Who's everybody got winning the championship for the NCAA tournament? You can give me that. Yeah, let's get some scores. We'll get ready to wrap up. It's going to be a fun night. Jerry Reynolds right back here at halftime. Can't wait for that. And again, please make sure that you are all subscribed here to If You Don't Like That, and give us a thumbs up if you haven't already. We are going to be putting out a ton more content. We're ramping up for the playoffs, and then you can also catch me on my daily podcast, The Kings Court. A fun listen, I promise you. We'll get you in and out of there about 15, 20 minutes every single day. We're going back to the chat. Here we go. What do you think Mike's rotation is going to look like tonight? It's going to be – so did anybody else find it interesting that Davion – it didn't feel like he got a ton of minutes last game against Memphis. Let's go back to it. Davion only played 10 minutes. Yeah, so I'm right. Davion played 10 minutes against Memphis. So a lot of us thought Davion was kind of that ingredient to the Kings playing this style of basketball or playing that tough-minded basketball, but he's kind of been the person left out, or at least he was last game. So when you talk about the rotation, I'm looking at that. Was that a matchup-based thing, or was that, maybe he's going to be on the outs? Because in the post-game press conference, Coach talked about Chris Duarte a decent amount. And he thought that, I shouldn't say a decent amount, but he thought that Chris Duarte gave him a really good spark off the bench. And you remember Chris came off the bench. I think he hit the first 2 threes when he came off the bench. And that bench unit last game, end of the first quarter, start of the second quarter, really gave the Kings a nice boost. So I'm looking at that. You're gonna get definitely Len. They'll try to play a little small at times. I bet you could almost maybe play Harrison at the 5, maybe, depending on the Raptors personnel. But you're going to see the normal rotation. I don't think any surprises. If I do see a surprise, I think it's going to be Kessler Edwards. I think Kessler's ready for an opportunity, and it's a really good time to see what he has to offer and see if he can be that spot defender, because that's going to be his role. If he is on the active roster in the playoffs, he will be a spot defender. And that's assuming this team doesn't have any more injuries. And I put this question out on the Kings court yesterday. You look at the way the Kings have played the last 2 seasons. They've been far and away the healthiest team in the NBA, hands down, right? But they haven't played a physical brand. Well, we talked about how many points they've given up the last 5 games. We talked about over the last 5 games, the fact that they have the second best defensive rating in that span. The fact that now their net rating is 1. It's almost doubled. In fact, it has doubled. It was hovering 0.3, 0.5, 0.6 all season long. So does it come at a cost, though? Does it come at a cost? Now you've got Kevin injured in this span. You've got Trey injured in this span. And I get Trey's injury was not it wasn't the result of a physical play, I guess would be the best way to put it, or something that didn't seem overly physical. So can the Kings sustain it? Like attrition, can they? Can they stay healthy and play this brand? We know Domas can. We know that for sure. UConn, yes, indeed. Let's see. Shaven heads. Did not see that, Alberto, but Grant and I shaved our heads. What was that, John? Like 2 years ago now? 2 years ago, we raised $16,000 for charity at Bennett's. That was pretty cool. Zakara, 109.99. There you go. Frog, what's up, my man? Kings by 10. Love it. Scuba comes at a cost, but I'd much rather watch some defensive basketball than everyone just chucking up threes. Yes, I agree. Yeah, that was kind of a weird play. I told you, I want to be 100% honest. I didn't see anything between Kevin and Bane going on, but James Ham thought he saw something, and James was at the game. I was not. So take it for what it's worth, but Desmond Bane's a strong dude, by the way, so that was a little bit more than just him going up for a layup. He came down hard. You know how like they measure force sometimes? I would love to know the force that came down on Kevin's arm, because that was nasty. Any shows planned for PSF? Not as of right now, Alberto. I will kick you an update on that tomorrow on the Kings Court. So I will write that down. MC 114, 197. Light the beam. Yes, indeed. Let's see. Into bank. Are you into bank? Are you actually in the bank? Are you like the teller? Do you have your phone out? Is that against policy? Are you paying full attention to your till? I mean, I'm just curious here. And what bank? Which bank? Huh, let me know. Why did they put a towel on Kevin's wrist? It's a great question, Dave. I don't think they knew exactly what was going on other than the shoulder. And I think, and I haven't talked to anybody, Dave, so this is pure speculation, right? I didn't talk to anybody that attended to Kevin right after the injury. But I think they were trying to figure out what exactly it was, because I think Kevin didn't even know exactly what it was. He was in a tremendous amount of pain, and you could see the discomfort and the confusion on his face. And so for me, Dave, that immediately, I'm shoulder, collarbone, because I've been through it. But the wrist thing was weird. I think what they tried to do, Dave, and this is just from my personal experience, when you dislocate your shoulder, and anybody else that's done it, get in the chat, back me up here. When you dislocate your shoulder, you don't want your arm like this. When your arm is like this, at least for me, it was extremely uncomfortable. And I at least wanted my arm to hang like that. A lot of times they'll use that towel, or at least they'll intend to use the towel to hold the wrist in place. So obviously it wasn't being used for that reason. It looked like it was just over his wrist. But it's a good question. So they might have thought he had a wrist injury, and he may still have a wrist injury. There is some speculation that he may have hurt his other hand when he landed. So a lot to be told. And if you just want to look at the timelines with injuries in the Kings, remember last year when Domas got hurt, and I know it was a weird time of year because it was it was the day before Christmas Eve, I want to say. But anyways, when Domas got hurt, there was a good day and a half, 2 days before we started hearing avulsion fracture and stuff like that. And it was really guarded. And then even with De'Aaron Fox and his shoulder injury, I don't know what it is. Grant brought up a great point the other show, like the Kings, their injury reporting, what's going on. I know a number of the other people that follow the team have brought that up as well at times, because Kevin's update for his shoulder says dislocated. So somebody made the comment, they're like, well, is it still literally dislocated this second, right? And so it's little things like that. But when De'Aaron came back after the All-Star break, they were asking him about it, and he's like, well, I don't know. I haven't had a scan, or I don't think I've had a scan. And it's just like, okay, you're the max guy, and you could be a super max guy. Like, I don't care if you have a scratch on your shoulder. If you think something's wrong, it's getting scanned. And so the fact there was no clarity there, and the fact now we're a couple days out with Kevin, I have not heard an exact or detail on how long he's going to be out, anything like that. So really interesting. One last one from Scuba, and we'll get you out. Let's see. Why is there not an injury report? How can I get an MRI and X-ray quicker than a Kings player? 100% Scuba. Well, here's the thing. You can't get an MRI probably quicker than a Kings player unless you're an emergency. But it's a great question. Yeah, he should have had, or you would have thought he would have had an MRI that night, but a lot of factors come into play. Could they get the shoulder back in? Was there complications getting the shoulder back in? Was there any structural damage getting the shoulder back in? Did it require surgery to get the shoulder back in? Do they still think he might need surgery to get it back in? So all these things, you get my point, but the scan you would have thought should have happened. So anyways, MC saying he just watched it. Has to be at least a fraction. Dude, MC, are you talking about the radius of the elbow? If you are, you just blew me off my feet, because I know that injury because I had that injury. You might be talking about the radius of the shoulder, but that's funny because that is exactly how that injury happens. The radial of your elbow gets fractured from the reverb from a wrist hit. It goes up your arm, and it actually doesn't show up on a X-ray for 2 weeks sometimes because of spelling. There's your medical stuff. This is supposed to be Kings pregame show. What are we doing? All right, we're going to get you out to Toronto. Make sure you come back with us at halftime. Don't forget, please subscribe to Grant's YouTube channel if you haven't already. Give us a thumbs up. I see 184 eyeballs out there, so thank you so much for supporting the pregame show. We'll be back with Jerry Reynolds at the half and postgame. It is your show. Do not forget, we're going to open it up to you. You can text the show. We'll have some fun. hopefully we are talking about a Kings win and a beam. Go Kings, light the beam. So long.